You ever think a cute little farm next door would be a dream? That waking up to the sounds of chickens and the smell of herbs would feel like a slice of heaven? Yeah, try living next to it. Because today's story from the subreddit, Am I the A-hole, takes us to a small suburban neighborhood where peace and quiet turned into squawking chaos. This is AITA for asking my neighbor to move their little farm. And let me tell you, it gets wild. So picture this. You're living in a regular, quiet neighborhood. Kids ride bikes. Dogs bark occasionally. Barbecues on the weekend. It's not the countryside, but it's comfortable. Suburbia, USA. Our storyteller, a mom, a homeowner, and someone who values her space, shares a fence with a house that's just been bought by a new neighbor. This neighbor, let's call her Farm Lady, is super into animals. Not cats or dogs, but goats, chickens, and ducks. Yes, she brought a mini farm into a suburban neighborhood. Now, technically, she's not breaking any laws. The area allows for urban agriculture if the animals are contained and not a nuisance. And at first, it was kind of cute. A duck waddling around? Adorable. But then came the noise, the smell, the flies. The roosters started crowing at 4:30 in the morning, every single day. Imagine you're trying to have your morning coffee and there's a goat head popping over your fence. A literal goat, just vibing. And the chickens. They weren't just pecking quietly. They were loud, aggressive, territorial. It got worse. The animals started getting out, into her yard. They'd dig up flower beds, leave droppings everywhere. Her dog started barking nonstop, losing sleep. Her kids stopped playing outside. Then one day, a duck wandered into her backyard pool and pooped in it. At this point, she'd had enough. So she did what any reasonable person would do. She talked to the neighbor, politely, calmly. She explained the issues. She asked if the neighbor could maybe move the coop or contain the animals better. But Farm Lady wasn't having it. She said this was her passion, her lifestyle, that the animals had a right to be there. She offered to put up an extra fence, but nothing really changed. The noise kept going. The animals kept escaping. And the smell? Think hot summer, plus chicken poop, plus no wind. So, the woman called the city. They came out, measured distances, checked noise levels, but the rules were vague. As long as the animals were technically contained and not a danger, the city couldn't force Farm Lady to stop. And so, finally, the woman posted to Reddit. She asked, AITA for asking my neighbor to move her farm? Let's pause. Because this story hits a nerve in suburban America. We all want freedom. We want space. But what happens when your freedom bleeds into someone else's peace? This is where education meets empathy. Urban farming is growing fast. People want organic eggs, self-sufficiency, and a return to nature. And that's beautiful. But urban living comes with shared boundaries, noise ordinances, fences, courtesy. If you bring in farm animals, you're not just changing your lifestyle. You're changing the entire ecosystem around you. And sometimes, that's not fair to your neighbors. Now here's where it gets juicy. Reddit had opinions. Some people defended the neighbor. She's following the law. Let her live her farm girl dreams. Others sided with the poster. You didn't sign up for Old MacDonald when you bought a house in suburbia. And then a third group said something deeper. This is about respect, not legality. Because yeah, maybe Farm Lady can keep animals, but when your rooster wakes up the whole block, when your ducks poop in someone else's pool, when your goats eat someone's garden. That's not just farm life, that's being inconsiderate. Let's break this down with 3 real lessons. First, legal ethical. Just because something is allowed doesn't mean it's right. If your lifestyle causes others discomfort, maybe it's time to compromise. Second, good fences don't always make good neighbors. Real community requires communication, listening, adjusting, being willing to say, "Hey, I hear you. Let me fix this." Third, every choice you make affects someone else. Your noise, your smell, your animals, your vibe. It doesn't exist in a vacuum. And if you live in shared space, you owe it to others to be mindful. So, what ended up happening? Well, after Reddit weighed in, the woman updated her post. She and her husband put up a second fence to protect their yard. They installed noise-blocking panels near the coop, and the city started reviewing its urban agriculture policies. But the neighbor? She still has her farm. The relationship is tense. The neighbors no longer speak, which is a real shame, because this could have been solved so differently, with empathy instead of ego. So here's my take. As the narrator of AITA Stories, and more importantly, as a human being who values both passion and peace, I don't think the original poster was the a-hole. I think she was reasonable. She tried. She respected the law. She had every right to ask for boundaries. And as for the neighbor, well, she might love her animals, but love isn't an excuse to ignore your impact. If your passion causes someone else pain, that's not freedom. That's selfishness dressed as authenticity. Now I want to ask you, what do you think? Should Farm Lady have scaled back her setup? Should the poster just learn to deal with it? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this one's gonna divide the room. And hey, if your neighbor started raising goats and ducks next to your bedroom window, would you say something? Or would you suffer in silence? Let's talk about it, because sometimes the line between peaceful living and barnyard chaos is only a fence away. This has been AITA Stories. Thanks for listening.